The Boltyn Armory deck has finally been fully revealed, which means that we now have all the info we at least expect to have headed into Skirmish Season 9 on our Light Warrior. So today we're charging forward with Boltyn in Blitz. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there, my flesh and blood friends. Welcome back to our continued march towards August and Skirmish Season 9. Now today we're talking the Light Warrior, Boltyn. Blitz is an awesome format and integral to Flesh and Blood's long-term success. With Skirmish Season returning in late August, the competitive focus on Blitz has returned. Every Tuesday until the start of Skirmish Season 9, I'll be covering a different Blitz deck tag. Now, our Dice Commando channel members, of course, have early access to these videos as they are uploaded. The first wave is already available, with another wave pending after the July 3rd BNS announcement. And hey, if James White approves, you should too. So I'll see you here every Tuesday through August for more Blitz content. So yes, today we are talking Boltyn, having finally seen the contents of the Boltyn Armory deck. Now, the reason I wanted to wait on this until that was released is because I was pretty hopeful, pretty optimistic that we were going to get a new charge card of sorts, but the TLDR is we did not. So first I want to take a few minutes to talk about the Boltyn Armory deck contents, its net impact, or really its lack thereof, if we're being honest, and then we'll go over my current Raydn build. So one thing I do want to get out of the way is with the cards that we've seen now, I do think it's very fair to say that like a Fatigue Decimator build is probably actually the better way to go with him. That said, I'm personally not interested in that. I also think that just with the state of Blitz, Fatigue's not in a super great spot, so I'm not recommending that to anyone aside from the fact that I just don't want to do it. So there's that, and that's fine. If you want to do the Steel Blade Shunts and Soul Shields and Saving Grace and all that, build into Decimator, you do you. I'm not taking anything away from that, but that is not what we're talking about here, okay? So why do I say that? Let's back up. Why do I say that? So we got 5 new cards out of the Boltyn Armory deck, and only one of them is a deck card. So we have the Helm, the Bracers, and the Warpath of Wing Grace. So we have the head, the arms, and the legs, each of which are a functional 2-blade break with charge on defend. Okay. Then we also got Solar Plexus, which did not fit the mold of the 4. So Solar Plexus is instant, destroy this, banish a card from your soul. Yellow cards cost you 1 less to play this turn. So that's actually pretty cool because, you know, you kind of run into some things sometimes with like Via the Vanguard where you don't want to pitch to it because you want to double charge or whatever it may be for you. So I think Solar Plexus if Solar Plexus in a Battlefield Blitz or many different options. That's pretty cool. Now, I'm a little annoyed at this card because it's like really good with like Luminar's Prism. Everyone's like, but that's not a thing anymore. Well, it is in LL, and I think that yellow being a theme for light, it could definitely be a thing in the future. So, but hey, and by annoyed, I don't mean annoyed that it exists. It's just, why does Prism have to get good stuff off Boltyn? That's all I'm going for. And I don't care if the Prism today uses it or not. It's good in concept for Prism. You know it is. So anyway, let's hit on Saving Grace. So this is the 1 deck card out of this. So there's an additional cost to play this. You may charge your hero's soul. But if you've charged this turn, regardless of whether it's with this card or like Soulbound Resolve or something like that, target attack gets -2. So this card's pretty good. I think we're going to Windmill Slam this in. Now, this card, I think inherently, it goes more towards like a Dirtle type strategy, which then fits in with like Boltyn Sabers or something like that. But functionally, what this card is doing is it's letting you survive longer, do more things that you need to do. At least that's how I see it. It's to survive longer and set yourself up for the pop-off turns, right? A combo type turn, which is what we want to do with Boltyn, okay? Now, the Raydn build is my personal go-to. I personally find it more fun. So that is what we're working with here for Boltyn Raydn Skirmish 9. I also find it to be more consistent in Blitz. So one of the challenges with the dual Sabers build is in Blitz, you only have 2 copies of Lumina. So if you're really trying to do your thing, you have to wait till you get them both. Whereas in my opinion, Raydn can also put on more baseline pressure, which then helps you extend that to then get your Luminas, and so on and so on. So I do fundamentally believe that Raydn is actually better in Blitz. If there's a whole bunch of Boltyn people out there who would very vehemently disagree with me. So let's just go into my deck. All right, so I am running Ironsong Versus. Ironsong Versus as the arm piece is actually really, really strong in terms of being able to threaten the Courage token. There's a lot of times in this deck with Raydn being a 0 swing that you actually do have the one floating because you'll pay a 1 or something like that, and then you've got another one out there because you're pitching yellows because the deck's chock full of yellows. So you see the point, you feed Versus, and now all of a sudden they're in a forced block scenario because they don't want you to go into your next turn with a buff so you can give it a go again, and so on. So Versus is absolutely, in my opinion, the right call. Do want to point out on the breakdown here, we do have 10 reds, 28 yellows, and 2 blues. That's main deck. So we now have another problem inherently with Boltyn in a Blaze world, where I should say a Wizard world with Blaze being back. That's rough. Okay, that's rough. So you kind of got to go fast at Blaze and hold on to your butts. Okay. Next, we're playing Soulbond Resolve. So this card is really good, and it's also really cheap, by the way, right now. So when you charge to it, you can prevent one of your damage. It doesn't even have to be to this, actually, right? The first time you build damage if you've charged this turn, right? So it kind of is in the same way as like Warpath of Winged Greats, where it's looking for charge, not necessarily to this, right? So that's really good. Warband of Bologna. And then I am running the new Warpath of Winged Grace for the Quicken token. So the reason I'm doing this over Snap, so Snappies has traditionally been the way to go so that you can start that, right? You can like do a Bolt of Courage, right? And then even if they don't block it, you can't do the Boltyn thing for go again. You have go again on board. I find this to be very similar in the Quicken token. It does require a little more setup, but you get 2 out of it. So that's not bad. So that is what I have currently in the deck. Okay. Going into the main deck, Beaming Bravado. So I really like this card. If you go and you look at what they had done being LSS with this deck, they also inherently agree that Beaming Bravado is good. So this one, if a yellow card is charged this way, this gets +1, right? So it automatically has its buff. The drawback of this is it doesn't have natural go again, so you do have to, from a net neutral standpoint, you have to put the card in to get +1 and go again on it, which is okay, but you know, there are non-attacks out there that do that. So, but that's okay, right? And you have Beaming Bravado, red and yellow. We have Bolt of Courage. This one is really like a staple. Makes a lot of sense. I also want to point out I do have Engulfing Light. For both of these, I really tried in these slots to get the Dusk Till Dawn M's to work. They're just not good. I mean, not compared to these, right? And because they have to charge a yellow. So Bolt of Courage and Engulfing Light, both very good. Courageous Steel Hand for the 3, very good as well. Now, Take Flight, red, yellow is where I've landed here. Take Flight is just a functional staple. Going into the Bannerets, so I'm running Banneret of Courage. This is the one that creates a Courage token. Gallantry is the one that creates a Quicken token on charge. Both of these two, right, Courage and Gallantry, are just as good when used defensively charged, right, for Soulbond, right? Go in with a Quicken, go in with a Courage, something like that. The one that you do have to do offensively that I'm running, and this is the last of the Bannerets I'm running, is Banneret of Salvation. So when this is charge your hero soul, next time you hit, it gains +1. I like this one a lot because a lot of times they're willing to bleed. So it works well. It works well in my opinion. Okay, now 2 cards I want to talk about together. Battlefield Bolt and Valiant Thrust. So Valiant Thrust is the 1 blue that we are running. I actually used to run this in yellow, but I figured that with Blaze out there, not that running 1 blue is necessarily going to like change very much, but I figured with, you know, Wizards and Arcane present in the format, you could do that. And Valiant Thrust is +3 no matter what when you charge. So it's a 4/3/2 +3. So the blue is obviously the best value one in terms of, you know, what you're getting out of it and having it in your deck slot. So I went with that. And then Battlefield Blitz yellow. I really like this card. So it's a free go again. 1/4. I really like it. All right, let's talk kind of the nuts and bolts here. So Beacon of Victory. This card is a super great finisher, and it's super functional in the middle because you can just chuck 1 to it and then pull your Lumina, right? Really cool there. So it's the +1 to get to go again, and you can pull the Lumina to do the thing. Super awesome. Okay, super awesome card. Plus, if you have 4 or 5 soul at the end, you can swing. You always got the attack reaction on. Really good card. Bolting Blade, this is not only a popper, and it's like a legit 7 popper because of her Herald of Triumph, but this is really, I mean, it's just functionally good Boltyn going via the Vanguard, right, with the dual charge into Bolting Blade. Awesome. And then you can do it all off. So via the Vanguard, dual charge, Bolting Blade, using the 2, follow up with Raydn. It's just like classic Boltyn 101, and it feels super good when you make that happen. In playing Cataclysm, this is also a 7, so you're actually in a pretty good spot here with poppers, which is pretty awesome. Lumina Ascension, I think enough said there. I am super happy that they put Lumina in the Armory deck. I wasn't sure they were going to. I'm really happy that they did, so that's awesome. Now, one that I think people don't like as well, but I love this card, Resounding Courage. So target Light Warrior attack gets +2. If you've charged, create a Courage token. This thing is sneaky because the plus is not dependent upon you charging or not, right? Obviously, most times you're going to want to charge, but there are some times where you're just like, I can only come in for a 0-3, no charge, whatever it may be, and then Resounding Courage, right? Now, it does cost 1. I want to point that out in the I can only do it. I get it, right? Now, I used to run this as a red, but I've since skewed it to yellow because you just want more yellows. And that's where we landed on that. I think you can run a red on this with minimal impact, but in terms of the one attack versus trying to come over and get the buff, I think the yellow does its job, so that's why I landed there. Okay, we have Saving Grace and Soul Shield. I think those both speak for themselves. Soul Shield is, of course, amazing. Saving Grace, we're still testing it out. It seems good. Seems good to me, especially off a Soul Bond or something like that. Get that soul nice and big and help protect yourself. All right, so that is the Boltyn deck list. This is a lot of fun. This deck is really, really, really a lot of fun. There are certain matchups, let's just be honest, we all know where Boltyn lies in the meta, but that doesn't make him any less fun to play. So go out there, smash some face, have a good time with it. And hey, if you're a Boltyn main, let us know what you think, what your preferred version is. Again, I want to go back to what I said at the beginning. I do think that from a pure mathematical standpoint, the Decimator Great Axe, there's something there with Boltyn. I just don't think that it's super well positioned in the meta, and I think being able to put on pressure is the only way you're going to succeed. But let me know if you agree, disagree. Nothing else, folks. Go Commando.